Welcome back to These Things Are Written on this Tuesday. As we begin the next section, yesterday we wrapped up the story of Jacob and Esau, and with Esau's descendants, and as we talked about what Edom became, the nation of Edom became following that. And today we're going to focus on Jacob, mainly Jacob's family, focusing pretty much on Joseph at this point. This is a story about favoritism. You would have thought that Jacob would have learned the dangers of favoritism in his family. After all, remember that his father Isaac loved Esau, his mother Rebekah loved him, and that caused the tension and the struggles between them. But he doesn't learn, and he finds his favorite. Genesis 37, verse 3. Now Israel loved Joseph, Israel being Jacob, remember, new name, loved Joseph more than any other of his sons, because he was the son of his old age. And he made him a robe of many colors. By the way, the son of his old age was his youngest son, not really his youngest son, but oldest son of his favorite wife, Rachel. So remember that as we go on here. And he made him a robe of many colors. But when his brothers saw that his father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him and could not speak peacefully to him. Now Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him even more. He said to them, "Hear this dream that I have dreamt. Behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and behold, my sheaf arose and stood upright, and behold, your sheaves gathered around it and bowed down to my sheaf." His brothers said to him, "Are you indeed to reign over us, or are you indeed to rule over us?" So they hated him even more for his dreams and for his words. You know, Joseph didn't make things any better, but then again, neither did his brothers. It said his brothers hated him, would not speak well of him, and would not speak peacefully. I like how that's put. Would not speak peacefully to him. So Joseph didn't make things better. He spoke to them words that were kind of condescending, told the brothers about the dream and how their sheaves would bow down, really implying that he would rule over them. Not only this, but he told of another dream of stars and the moon, and how the stars, 11 of them, bowed down to the one star, and even the moon bowed down. So they were, you could tell they're not doing very well. And even the first two verses, which I didn't read, a reminder, please read the whole chapter. I'm not able to today. Even in those two verses, it kind of implied that he told on his brothers. So let's continue from there. I'm going to move down to verse 12. Now his brothers went to pasture their father's flock near Shechem. And Israel said to Joseph, "Are not your brothers pasturing the flock in Shechem? Come, I will send you to them." And Joseph said to him, "Here I am." Favoritism. It's shown here, isn't it? They are at work, and Joseph is at home with his father. Jacob, in a way, is encouraging this division by sending Joseph to his brothers to get a report on how they're doing. In other words, kind of encouraging Joseph to be that tattletale. We're moving down now to verse 18. They, the brothers, saw him, Joseph, from afar, and before he came near to them, they conspired against him to kill him. They said to one another, "Here comes the dreamer. Come now, let us kill him and throw him into one of the pits. Then we will say that a fierce animal has devoured him, and we will see what will become of his dreams." But when Reuben heard it, he rescued him out of their hands, saying, "Let us not take his life." And Reuben said to them, "Shed no blood. Throw him into this pit here in the wilderness, and do not lay a hand on him, that they might rescue him. that he might rescue him out of their hand to restore him to the father. Reuben was a good guy. He cared about his father, didn't he? But when Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped him of his robe, the robe of many colors that he wore, and they took him and threw him into the pit. The pit was empty. There was no water in it. When they sat down to eat, and looking up, they saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead, and their camels bearing gum, balm, and myrrh, on their way to carry it down to Egypt. Then Judah said to his brothers, "What profit is it if we kill our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother, our own flesh." His brothers listened to him. Then Midian traders passed by, and they drew Joseph up and lifted him out of the pit and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekel of silver. Then they took Joseph to Egypt. And the brothers broke their father's heart by telling their father that Joseph had been killed by a wild animal. They found the coat, they had it torn, they put goat's blood on it, all to make it look like he had died. Even though Reuben tried to save him, was going to rescue him, he wasn't there at the time. He, in a way, panicked when he saw that he was gone, thinking he was dead. Some tried to restore, but he couldn't. So Judah, the ringleader of the others, sold him into captivity. Really, to his own family, if you think of it. Remember, Ishmael and Isaac were half-brothers by Abraham, but yet there was no connection there. They weren't part of the promise, but they were still used to bring forward God's plan of saving Jacob's family. We'll get to that later on, but we're wrapping up today. Tomorrow, we hit kind of a little bit of an excursus in the story of Joseph, and we're going to focus on another difficult chapter in Genesis. It seems like we've had a lot of them. This one about Judah and Tamar. We'll be back tomorrow. Hope you join me. God bless.